Let's talk about a situation where things go wrong. I love process. You know I love process. I post about process almost every second week. This is an example where too much process is actually too much. Talking about a sales rep, been on board about 90 days, been through some product training. Not too much, I made sure of that, but mostly about talking value and understanding what the customer's problem is. And remember, my philosophy is we're not here to pitch a product. No one cares about your product. We're here to understand what the customer's problem is and to help them make a buying decision. So it's fundamental to the way that I like to sell and that I like all my sales reps to sell. And so with this situation, as I said, 90 days in, got some really good results, some really good closes, and then disaster hits. We have a terrible discovery qualification call. Rep loses confidence, consultants lose confidence, CEO loses confidence. It's like, uh-oh, what do we do? First thought is more product training. No, that's not the answer. Let's have a look. Let's deep dive into the call. And what we found was because things were working so well, they developed almost a script to follow. And it was, let's take these steps. These are the questions we ask, and this is how we follow the bouncing ball in one of these qualification discovery meetings. And the result was a failure this time because the customer didn't play ball, the prospect didn't play ball on the other side. And so we went way off script and it was like, lost. What do we do? And so when we broke it down, what we found out, or the results of what we're going to do, is that we were racing to the finish line. We were racing to get to the close because we've been so successful, we knew that we could get there. And so the focus was, let's get to the close. And so the first thing was, let's embrace the journey, right? Let's be grateful for the sales call that we are on. Let's be grateful for the opportunity to talk to another organization, another person about the problems they're experiencing and their views and their perspectives on how they're trying to solve the problem and what they're looking for. That's the first thing. The second thing was stop focusing on the close, all right? Embrace that journey. Then the third thing that we looked at was when the customer goes off script and starts talking about the way they want to do it, it doesn't fit in with the way that you think it should be done, embrace that again. Ask questions to help you understand what the customer's saying and then confirm that you've understood the customer, right? You have to recalibrate and get to that same point in the conversation where you're aligned. You started off relatively aligned, it's been misaligned, and now by confirming your understanding of the customer, you're aligned again. And the customer appreciates that you've listened with intent, and you've understood them. Once you get to there, you can be more business curious and you can ask further questions that expands the conversation. And by being business curious, you get to ask questions that's relevant to them, not your solution. And then what you want to try and do is direct the conversation back to where you want it to go by asking insightful questions, not telling them they're wrong. You can't tell someone that you're right and they're wrong. You can ask them questions and they can realize, actually, I hadn't thought about that. That's an insightful question. Oh, I hadn't thought about that. And once you go down that path, they're starting to see that you have a different perspective that is worth listening to. Because you've regrounded the conversation, recalibrated that point where you're together, you earned the right to ask those questions and they will listen to you at that point in time. All right, that's an example of some of the one-on-one mentoring that we do. I would love you to send me a complete failure. Send it through to us, a complete failure of a demo, a sales call, a presentation, anything of that like, a qualification call. We'll have a look at it and we can come back to you with some ideas that might help you fix it.